Today is Saturday, March 29th, 2025, and Friday was a pretty bad day for me. My chart is a little messed up right now because I actually recently placed my first ever futures trade. So I did tell you guys a few videos back that I was going to place my first futures trade, and it's been an interesting experience so far because literally right after I bought it, the whole market immediately started going down. And I'll get to that in just a second, but this past week, according to Robinhood, I am down 8.75%. And of course, for the past month, I am down over 20%, which brings me to my year-to-date chart. I am down almost 9.5% year-to-date, which is pretty sad. And I'm still down from peak to now. I am down almost 60 grand. So it is kind of sad, but it is what it is. It's just unrealized gain and loss. It's like the value of your house moving up and down, or the value of your jewelry moving up and down. Like, it is what it is. But obviously stocks are different, but whatever. I won't get into all that. But of course, the NASDAQ was down 2.62%. Past month, it is down 7.78%. And of course, year to date, the NASDAQ is down over 9%. So unfortunately, I am not outperforming the NASDAQ anymore, but I am still very in line with it, even though my portfolio is much more aggressive, much more volatile. I'm still somewhat in line with the NASDAQ, so I guess that's a good thing. And before we get to the rest of my portfolio, I wanted to just very briefly touch on the recent Robinhood event. So unfortunately, I didn't go there. I didn't get an invite like the one that happened last year, whatever. It is what it is. I just cried in my sleep a little bit. Just kidding. And I didn't get a chance to watch the whole live stream. But from the post that I saw on X, the first thought that came to my mind was I really appreciate Robinhood's vision and their mission when it comes to trying to bring all the services that used to be only for the wealthy, and they're trying to incorporate as much of those features as possible for regular Robinhood Gold users, and for the low price of $50 a year. And I think that's very honorable and that's very noble for them to do. But I also think they kind of stepped on their own toes a little bit, because even though that's very good for PR and their image, and it's a very good mission to have, it kind of closed the door to a Robinhood Premium or some Robinhood Platinum rumor that has been going around. So all of these like very premium features, a lot of people on X were talking about having a Robinhood Platinum or Robinhood Premium, to where they would get even more features, or maybe get features a lot faster, or they would get like maybe priority or whatever. That would also be the tier that would go up in price every single year, versus Robinhood Gold, that's just $50 a year for everybody. Anybody can join and everybody gets the same features, whatever. So I do think they kind of closed the door to that, but I understand their vision, right? Their vision is, we want everybody that's a Robinhood Gold user to have the same features that wealthy people have. And I also did see Vlad say that they're going to double their amount of gold card users. So I think right now is 100K, and they're going to push it to 200K this year. And I'm really hoping that I get selected, because if I do, if anybody at Robinhood is watching this, very low possibility, but if I do get the Robinhood Gold card, that is going to be my number one credit card. It is going to replace not everything, but it's going to replace most. It will definitely replace my SOFI one, because the SOFI one, you get like 2 or 2.2% back, whatever. And I basically use that just because, I am a shareholder of SOFI, but I also enjoy using their services too. So I just use that credit card for now, and it's just so simple. But obviously, like the very niche credit cards where it's a rotating category, or maybe you get 5% back at Amazon, stuff like that, I'll keep using at those places. But the Robinhood Gold card will definitely replace almost all of the other credit cards. All right, now that I got that out of the way, let's move on to my portfolio. So there it is, my very first futures buy that I've ever placed my entire life. And a lot of you guys that are watching this that are futures traders, you're probably cringing right now. But yes, I did buy one contract on the micro Russell, I want to say. yeah, the micro Russell. I did buy one contract, and it's already down $280. And I am a futures newbie, right? Which is why I wanted to hurry up and just place my first futures trade so I can hurry up and start learning, getting some experience, whatever. But if any of you guys are experienced futures traders, could you explain why it is that my buying power fluctuates? I know when you're using margin or whatever, your equity will fluctuate and it'll make your account much more volatile. But why is it that futures fluctuates your buying power? Like, I guess that's just not clicking for me right now. And obviously, I need to study more and get more experience, whatever. But if any of you guys are experienced futures traders and you have a little bit of patience to spare on a newbie like me, please just give me a simple explanation in the comments. But yep, there you go. My first ever futures trade, which also reminds me of something that I've been seeing on social media, mostly X and YouTube. But a lot of people are talking about this April 2nd face ripper rally, whatever. Even though I have been expecting a short-term bottom here in the market, seeing posts like that on social media just makes me a little bit more nervous. Obviously, if I was turning on YouTube or reading some posts on X and other social media sites, and I see everybody panicking and crying about the stock market, whatever, that gives me a little bit more comfort and a lot more confidence. I know that sounds backwards, but it actually gives me a lot more confidence in the market because I see that a lot of people have been flushed out. And so the market is looking like it's starting to bottom. Versus if I go on social media and I go on YouTube, whatever, and I see all these people hyped up and they're saying, oh, April 2nd, face ripper rally incoming, whatever. It just makes me a little bit nervous. But it's whatever. I decided to just go ahead and place my first futures trade. Maybe on the 31st, we'll have another big dip or whatever, and I'll be down 500, but it is what it is. And I want to say last video we left off on the Nike short put roll that was $1, but after fees it's I want to say 90 cents or whatever. I did end up closing my Russell put credit spread before this huge dip, so I am very happy about that. It ended up being around $130 of profit, and right now I want to say that spread was trading almost for $300. So I did make a decent profit, and I got out right before a big dip. And if the Russell doesn't move around too much or goes down even more on the 31st, there's even more premiums there potentially for me to sell. So I could possibly sell another Russell spread or a spread on the NASDAQ. Haven't decided yet. I've been contemplating buying another futures contract either on the NASDAQ or the Russell, or maybe I'll sell spreads. Haven't really made up my mind yet, but I do think short term there is a possibility of a bottom. But again, I don't want to risk too much because all these people are hyped up on social media. So who knows, April 2nd, we could have another big dip that flushes out even more people. As you can see, March 27th, I did buy that futures contract, whatever. Because Nike ended up dipping even more, and I want to say it made 52-week lows, I did go ahead and roll out my cash secured put even more. So I gained, I didn't gain, but I got back $100 of collateral because I rolled it down from 76 to 75, and I also collected $20. So basically, I'm just kicking the can down the road, but Nike, I do think it's a decent buy here at 65. I know I've been saying for a long time my price target is 100, and it feels like we're never going to get there. Similar to PayPal, because it's been 2-3 years that people have been buying at PayPal, but it's whatever. I do think Google, though, it's a pretty good buy here at 154. If it goes back up to 190, 200, obviously that's almost a $50 swing. So if any of you guys are long-term investors in Google, looks like a pretty interesting situation. And of course, I got my future dividends coming. Just to quickly go over some of the prices that my stock's trading at. Robinhood trading in the 40s. I think it's a okay buy. Obviously, for coming from somebody that bought it in the $10 range, it's not as attractive for me. But somebody that doesn't have a position in Robinhood, I don't think $40 is a bad price. Earlier it was trading at 35, which was a much better price, but it is what it is. If I had a ton of cash right now, I would be selling some cash secured puts on Robinhood just because the option premiums are so fat. But yeah, I am still comfortable with Robinhood being my number one position. Obviously, Nike has been very disappointing lately, but I still think it's a $90 to $100 stock. And of course, Palantir is just being Palantir. That stock will be 97 and then 87 in the same day, it feels like. I just don't know anymore. And of course, you got Pepsi that feels like it's been trading at $150 for basically ever. But it's just a very consistent dividend paying stock for me. Speaking of TLT, I did see a post on X. I haven't verified if it's true, and I've never seen the account before, so I don't really want to post it. But I did hear some rumors that a big whale bought some call options on TLT last week that expires sometime next month, I want to say. So I don't know if it's just some big institution that's hedging or that's just a normal trade for them. But it was something interesting that I saw that's related to TLT. I mean, that TLT basically hovers. It's been hovering around $90 for like my whole life, it feels like. And when it comes to TLT, I don't really know for sure what I want to do yet. If it gets to around $95 and I start selling covered calls against it, or just one covered call because I only have 110 shares, that would be a profitable trade for me. But I do think TLT has the potential to get back over 100 again. So I could sell covered calls if it bounces back to 95 and it'd be profitable for me. But I just don't really know what I want to do with TLT yet. It's just kind of there to help somewhat keep my account stable. I don't know if I've done a good job with it, but it is what it is. I just use it to collect my interest, whatever. And of course, Honest back under $5, which is very interesting. Tesla, similar to Palantir, is just going to do its own thing. But I did see some posts on X relating to Tesla. It's kind of political, but not really. A lot of people on like the anti-Elon side are talking about shorting Tesla, buying puts on Tesla, selling the stock, whatever. And then obviously you have all of the conservatives, whatever Republicans, the pro-Elon side, saying to buy calls on Tesla or buy a leverage ETF, buy the stock, whatever. And there's going to be some short squeeze. I don't know anymore. When it comes to Tesla stock, it just feels like it's a violent push and pull. It's a violent game of tug of war, right? I do want to be invested in it just for the technology. Like I wish that it wasn't a political stock. I wish that it was a technology stock. It's unfortunate for long-term shareholders that it's such a volatile political stock, right? Obviously for traders, you're making a killing. Like if you sold covered calls or you bought puts towards the top when it was like 350, 400, and you made that money all the way down, and then you bought calls at the bottom and you made money on that big bounce, I mean, you're doing pretty good for yourself as a trader. But it feels like Tesla is torturing long-term shareholders. And I did also see some posts on X. I don't know if this is true either, but it's just what I saw. Elon was telling his employees that are a little bit angry with their stock position. Obviously, he's telling them to like not sell or something. I don't really know what to make of it. It's just something that I saw posted on X. It's just a sucky situation for long-term shareholders. But I do hope that Tesla will get back to being a tech stock, right? I invested in Tesla because I'm excited for the robotics, the automation, all the cool gear that's coming out, the cool tech. That is what I want to see from Tesla. I really like how PayPal and SOFI are trading at these low prices again. PayPal seems like it's been at 65 my whole life. SOFI trading in the $11 range, which is pretty interesting. Maybe $11, $10 cash secured puts. Obviously, I don't have a lot of buying power, but it is just a thought that came to my mind. And of course, my cost basis on win is like around 86, so 82 is looking pretty good. REPX, of course, my speculative oil play. You have EA that has actually done pretty good during this time of volatility. If we check out the month chart, it's actually up 10% in the month. And year to date, it's only down 2%. So pretty interesting. Not really sure what to make of it. I don't really, when it comes to safety stocks, the number one company that comes to my mind isn't really EA, but it's been trading like it's a Pepsi, if that makes any sense. Like Pepsi hasn't really acted like a flight to safety lately. Some days when the market is red, it has been green. Lately, it's been feeling like EA could be in that group. oddly enough, even though it's a video game company. And of course, you have Nubank that is back at $10, and Burberry is back at $10. I didn't notice that, but you have QQQ all the way back down to 466, and Google, of course, back down to 154, VFC back down to 15. These are just pretty good prices, and days like today and just months like this past month really make me wish I had a boatload of money, because I would just be buying everything. Obviously, not financial advice, and you should not be buying any of these stocks without first doing your own research and consulting a financial advisor, obviously. But for me personally, if I had a ton of money, I would just be buying everything.